everything became product when the record business really started calling the terms. But, you know, in the 60s, music was still documented, really. I mean, it was a social statement. And somebody would come into a recording studio and they would capture the music and send it out. And then the business would try to market it. By the 70s and 80s, the music started to become manufactured. It didn't really exist in the world. It was created in a studio, and then it was shipped out there, and then it was manipulated by the marketing machine, and then it was subject to promotion. Then it became independent promotion to get around payola. I mean, it became mired in a sea of the normal corruption that follows capitalism. And so by the 80s and 90s, when you get into gangster rap and that stuff, that wasn't music that was really happening on the streets. It was being shipped out from the studios. And it was really not about artists and people and career and Tikkun Olam or any of that stuff. It was about units. It was just, it got reduced to units. And when you reduce something to pure monetization, monetary value, there's no room in it for the human story. And so today we're looking at music that literally, if not today, by tomorrow, will be created by machines. There's no reason that an artificial intelligence can't do what's being played today on the radio.
But there'll never be a machine that can create like John Coltrane.
Well, that's exactly right. No, and that's why the music really is sacred. And I don't know if you remember the end of Fahrenheit 451, where they're all sitting in the woods, and the old people, it's snowing, and there's a bunch of old people, and they're reading a book to a young person. No, they're not reading the book. There are no books. They're telling the book. The old people have internalized, everyone has internalized one story and is passing that story on to one other person. And I think we're pretty close to that position now, where those of us who know who understand what it felt like for the music to be spiritual, to be connected to social justice, to be connected to populism. And when I say spiritual, I am not saying religious. I'm talking about the reason that we can make this world a better place and that we have an obligation to do it, and how it's translated through the music. That's our obligation whenever we come in contact with younger people. And even then, it's pretty difficult to believe that it can survive in its old form, because there's no context anymore for it. The music that we love, John Coltrane relies on a sense of history, not only the history that came before him with Coleman Hawkins and Ben Webster, or whatever it is, but deep history, thousands of years history. And one of the things we're working through right now, politically and culturally, is this huge assault on history and on truth and on knowing where we came from. And the music was about that. So again, we are the people whose obligation is to pass along on the pulse who we are, our lives, how we live our lives is the best way to pass on this sense of Yiddishkeit.